Today on the Race Rex Motocross Show, I'm going to be joined by special co-host Grant Langston, multi-time AMA national champion. He'll give us some in-depth analysis of what it's like to race here at RedBud. We'll also have an interview with the new man on the podium, Ben Townley, who's back up front in 2010. All coming up next on the Race Rex Motocross Show. Welcome to the Racer X Motocross Show on AllySports.com. Jason Wygant and former AMA National Champion Grant Langston here at the Rockstar Energy Drink RedBud National. That is round 6 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Good to have you on board, Grant, because this time you're not just here to host a show, you're actually here to do some racing, but you've been watching the racing too. And we'll talk about the 250 class first. Your old team, Monster Pro Circuit Cowie, battling it out right now up front.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was a surprise to anybody. I mean, they're always strong. They have a strong team, and usually it seems like a really strong outdoor team, if nothing else. A lot of depth. But not only Pro Circuit, we've seen some rookies, and we've seen quite a few foreigners winning.
Yes.
And it's been pretty interesting, I've noticed.
Now, talk about that class. You've raced it before. What is the difference between the 250 guys and the 450 guys as opposed to their race strategy? Is it wilder, more wide open, more unpredictable?
I don't know if there's a lot of race strategy besides pin it to win it.
Okay.
I mean, I was watching like Hangtown and seeing Tomac as a rookie. I mean, it was pretty mind-blowing to see a guy come out of the box. You know he was nervous inside, but when you watch him ride, you would have thought he didn't fear anything. And I can't believe the intensity. I mean, they go for it every lap all the time. I understand 250Fs are a little lighter, a little more nimble. It's easier to do that, but those guys are on the edge all the time. But, you know, at the end of the day, you see someone like Porcel, he has a little racecraft, and that seems to kind of pay dividends in the end.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Porcel. You were in a similar situation to him. You'd come over from Europe in the GPs. Is he the class of the field? Can he win all these after the 1-1 last weekend, or the other guys still have a chance to get some wins at least?
He's not going to win them all.
No.
There's too many fast guys, and there's going to be too many opportunities for a first turn crash, a first lap crash. We've seen it happen before. And like I said, don't forget the guys on the Factory Connection Honda bikes. There's even Tickle over at Yamaha. I mean, there's a lot of guys going fast. I think there's too much depth that there's going to be a time where he's either going to get a terrible start or go down on the opening lap. And I don't see him passing 20 top guys. And don't forget, the other 20 guys are still fast. But
Yes.
I'm saying there's a lot of fast guys. It's going to be too tough for them to come through the field. I don't see a charge through the pack from the back.
All right, so you never know what's going to happen out here. Let's give you a bird's eye view of the racetrack almost. Literally, we got Travis Sewell on the Rock River Yamaha running the GoPro helmet cam today from RedBud. Check it out. All right, good to have the helmet cam here to give you an idea what it's like to do a lap out here at RedBud. Talk about your first time here and what you had heard about this massive Larocco's leap behind us.
Well, I think the good thing for me, at least in 2001, was that we weren't expected to jump it.
Right.
We were on 125s. The track was really deep, sandy, long uphill. I think Pastrana tried it from off the track, blew out a front wheel or something, typical TP style.
Yep.
But nowadays they got these 4-strokes that are pushing some good power, and there's guys that are going to be doing it. Whether they do it in the motos or do it consistently, we'll have to wait and find out. But you'll see guys going for it. So if I was to come here in 2010 as my first year, I'd be a little nervous knowing I got to go jump this monster.
You have to, yeah.
If you want to win,
Yeah,
you
that's
got
right.
it.
Let's talk about the track in general. You kind of like the conditions out here. It's got a little bit of everything, you say.
You know, I love RedBud. I think it's great. We come here 4th of July. That's real special. We got this big jump we talk about, which has sort of been what made this track somewhat famous. A lot of blown out wheels here. But if you just look at the track in general, there's a lot of terrain change. You know, you go from hard pack to sand to roller whoops. You're on that side of the hill. You're on this side of the hill. It's got so many elements to this venue, and I just find that really cool. I think the 4th of July weekend really adds. The fans here screaming RedBud all weekend. I love it. I think it's a great place to spend a holiday weekend.
It's true, and it's pretty cool. The guys from South Africa even recognized the 4th of July thing. He's not the only one in that class in the 450s that's converted American, I guess, now.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Ben Townley, the New Zealander who's back in action and scored his first podium last week at Colorado.
My plan coming into the season was to definitely be up front. You know, that was always the goal, and I had a little bit of a setback right before the season started, and I didn't know if I'd be, you know, fully up front when I mean that on the podium to start with. And we set a goal of by the 4th or 5th round being up there, and basically we hit that plan, you know, on the nail. And from here on, I'd like to start getting up front and trying to race for some wins. Definitely staying on the podium and staying off the ground. I think that's been one of the things that sort of set me back. You know, I probably could have been up there earlier this season, but, you know, just having those small tip overs and just silly mistakes. And I think a lot of that has come from being off of racing at this level for such a long time. I've been actually pushing quite hard. I haven't had the best starts, and so I've had to come back, and my speed's been fine. You know, I've been able to race with Reedy and Shorty and Metcalf, Josh Grant. Dungey's been a little bit quicker than most of us, but I think, you know, I'm starting to find my groove now, and I'd definitely like to race for some wins, and that's my ultimate goal this season, is to get back to that level. You know, whether I won the championship or not, I want to be up there contending for race wins. So from here on out, that's the goal.
That's Ben Townley. Glad to see he's got a podium under his belt, now going for a win. Let's talk about the 450 class. Excluding you here at first, Ryan Dungey's got the drop, and everybody's got a bunch of wins in a row. Like Porcel, is he going to win a bunch more, or can these guys get to him?
Oh, I mean, definitely Ryan's going to win more races, unless he was hurt, obviously. But
right.
I expect to see him win. Same thing there again. You know, I think there's a lot of depth in this class. I've seen guys, when they get bad starts, I mean, a good example was Hangtown. Ryan had bad starts. I know I was battling with him second motor, him and Grant, and they were 9th and 10th, and I was 11th until I fell. It's really tough to come through the field. So same thing again. I don't see him winning them all. I think there's too much depth, too many good riders. But I do see him, he's got this under control, I think. At this point, I know it's early stages, but he has it under control. So if I'm Ryan Dungey, I'm smiling right now. If I'm the other guys, I know I've got some homework to do, and I'm getting a little nervous, for sure.
But you've been in some dramatic title fights where we didn't have any idea that you'd be in the hunt in the first half of the year. In the second half of the year, you came back from an injury or whatnot to get back in contention. So how do these guys remind themselves it's not over yet?
Well, I mean, that is a tough question.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even in 2007, you know, people came to me and said, "Oh man, I knew you were going to do it." I'm thinking, how did they know? I had no idea. Like,
Yeah.
I never would have bet more than maybe a couple bucks on myself that I would have won.
6th in points or something like that? At one point?
7th.
7th in points. Okay.
So, you know, a little bit better than I'm doing now, but you know,
Okay.
I just was not in position to even make a run at the title because the riding wasn't there. When that started coming, then I started believing, but then it's tough because you go, I got to be flawless now because
Yeah.
I got to play catch up. I can't have a bad motor or a first turn pile up. And luckily, it went my way. But you know, these series are long. You know, people think 12 rounds. Well, it's actually more like 24 rounds because there's 2 motos on a day. You got 24 motos. That's a lot of points. So you could be down 100 points. I mean, I think back to the Emig Larocco 92 125s. I was a kid in South Africa watching it.
Nice.
That was one of the most dramatic ends to a championship. Who would have thought that? You know,
Yeah.
so. You can never throw in the towel, and I think these guys are smart enough to know it. Injuries play a factor, DNFs, mechanicals, whatever. So these guys, they're going to give it everything I got all year, and I expect it to go down to the wire, but I think at this point, Dungey's looking tough to beat.
Thanks, Grant Langston, for helping us with the hosting today. He'll be racing on the old number 8 tomorrow. And thank you to you folks for watching. We'll be live on NBC tomorrow afternoon. Check your local listings. That's your 450 show live on Saturday. And on 4th of July Sunday will be our 250 show, of course, on Speed. Or go to allysports.com for all the information on the tour. Thanks for watching. I just want to point out that the 2 ultimate 125 class rivals from both the GPs and the Nationals were bench racing. They're now buddies.